Hey there, I'm Daniel from Ratings.com. In this video, we'll be looking at Vizio's complete lineup of 2019 TVs. We'll start by giving an overview of the brand, and then we'll compare their performance and the results of our testing, and finish with a summary of which ones you should buy. We won't be going into too much depth here, but you can check out our full reviews for all of the gritty details. You can also see the description box below if you'd like to skip ahead to any part of this video. Alright, so Vizio only releases TVs in the North American market and are traditionally known for both competitive budget models as well as some very high-performing models which compete with flagships from other manufacturers. Like some other TV manufacturers, including Sony, Vizio doesn't make any panels themselves and instead buys them to produce their TVs. Vizio refreshes their entire lineup each year. This year's refresh has caused some confusion though. Usually, increasing through higher-end series of TVs brings a definitive step up in features and better performance, but this year it's much less straightforward, so you need to look at the exact model numbers. This can also make it harder to compare models between retailers, because it may not always be clear what model is for sale, as we'll talk about later. Let's get started. We're going to begin with the budget V Series 2019 and work our way up. The V Series is Vizio's cheapest range of 2019. It's new this year, replacing both the 4K D series and the E series from the last few years. It's a basic TV and competes with budget models from other manufacturers, like the Samsung RU7100 or LG UM7300. Now, when looking to buy a V Series TV, check out the full model code. The third number will be either a 5 or a 6, depending on the variation, and we'll refer to this throughout the video as V5 and V6 respectively. We bought a V5 variation, the V505-G9. It doesn't have more advanced features like local dimming or motion interpolation, but still offers decent performance with a high native contrast ratio, so blacks appear fairly deep when viewed in the dark, and the brightness of this TV is fairly low, but should still be fine for an average lit room. Like other Vizio TVs, it has the SmartCast platform, which works well, but it can be a bit unintuitive or limiting for some people. While there is an on-screen interface, it's designed to be cast to or controlled from a phone or tablet. This is good for those who are already used to Chromecast or in Amazon's ecosystem, but can take some getting used to for new users. Vizio TVs also tend to have fairly low input lag for gaming, and the V Series is no exception at about 25 milliseconds. They lack more advanced gaming features like Samsung's with variable refresh rate support, but this is normal of most TVs. The V6 variation of this TV is a slightly higher-end model, but we don't expect it to perform too differently. Although it has a local dimming feature, it only has up to 12 zones for the 65-inch model, and so we don't expect it to be very effective. This is the same number of zones as the E series of last year, which had bad local dimming. Overall, if you're after a cheap TV and don't need more advanced features, then the V5 could be a better buy. Alright, so the next step up is to the M Series Quantum 2019. Just like the V Series, you need to check the full model code to see how the TV performs. There is a big variation in performance depending on the third number of the model code. The M Series lineup is currently split into 3 tiers, the M6, M7 and M8. Of these, we've bought and tested the M7 and M8 in 65 inches, so we'll talk about these first. So, beginning with the M7. Unfortunately, our M7 broke after testing as the result of a series of power brownouts in our lab. There was a few other products that broke too, so we expect that it was just unlucky rather than necessarily indicating a reliability problem. Other plugged-in Vizio TVs were fine. As a result, we can't turn it on, but the M7 is a step up from the V Series, with a higher peak brightness and more local dimming zones than the V6 series. This makes it more suitable for both bright and dark rooms. Unlike the V Series, it supports an excellent wide color gamut, among the best we've tested. This is great for those who plan to watch HDR or like saturated colors. It has the same smart platform and remote as the other Vizio models. The M8 is the highest tier of the M Series and has a few improvements over the M7. It has better local dimming with many more zones, which helps improve the darkroom performance. It's also a bit brighter, but this isn't a big difference. Now, the M6 is the lowest tier model which we haven't tested. It was released around Black Friday and offers cut-down performance to be available at a lower price. We expect it to perform somewhere between the V6 and the M7, with basic local dimming and very few zones, and decent peak brightness. We expect that it also includes a wide color gamut like the other M Series Quantum TVs, but we don't know for sure. Now the next step up is to the P Series Quantum 2019. This is also a bit confusing because it actually replaces the P Series 2018, not the Quantum model from last year. This year, it is a step below. Having said that, it's still a great TV and improves upon the M Series with a 120Hz panel, which is useful if you want to game at higher frame rates or enjoy smoother motion with the soap opera effect. The local dimming is also a bit better with the addition of many more zones, and the TV gets a bit brighter. Something else to note is that the 5th HDMI port on the P Series bypasses some processing with the goal of lower input lag. This minimized processing means it doesn't work with HDR content, but for SDR, it does make a difference with about 10 milliseconds less input lag. This is a neat feature for gamers. And now we're up to Vizio's flagship, known as the Quantum X 2019. It's an excellent TV with great picture quality and motion handling and low input lag. It's like a supercharged version of the P Series. It gets much brighter and is one of the brightest TVs we've seen. This is great for watching HDR content. It also has a better anti-reflective coating, which combined with the brightness makes it a great choice for a bright living room. Like the P Series, it has a low input lag port which works well, but also note it still only works for SDR content. It also has a great local dimming function with even more zones. Okay, with that said, which one should you buy? Well, if you're after a cheap TV and don't have a demanding use, such as a very dark or bright room, and don't plan to watch HDR content, then check out the V Series. While there are differences between the V5 and V6, most people should just go with the cheapest option. If you can afford it though, then the M Series is a much better TV. It's a significant step up in picture quality with a local dimming function that does a decent job. It also supports a wide color gamut, which is great for HDR. Look for the M7 or M8 though, because we don't expect the cut down M6 to add much with its few local dimming zones. Now, depending on your budget, the P Series Quantum could also be a good choice. It offers small improvements over the M Series, but nothing drastic. And if you're just after the best performing Vizio TV, then check out the P Series Quantum X 2019. It's a bit of a mouthful to say, but does stand up above the rest with better picture quality and reflection handling. So that's it. What do you think of Vizio's lineup this year? Do you find the naming convention as confusing as we do? If so, hopefully this guide helped. Let us know in the comments down below. You can check out all of our measurements for any of the TVs mentioned in this video on our website, linked in the description down below. And if you want to see our test results first as we buy and test new models, then you should become an insider on the website. And lastly, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get alerted when new videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.